Well, good weekend. Ira Epstein, and here we are with your metal market wrap-up, your weekend edition for this Friday. And we're at the 18th of July, 2025. Do remember, I'll be gone for a while. I will be putting out updates. I just won't be in them. I'll talk through them. It's probably the safest way we can do it. And I intend on getting some relaxing time. I need it, and then I come back all refreshed. The market down today. So you would think, oh, this looks terrible. Well, if you saw my financial market update, you closed near the week's highs. You didn't really back off that much. You have all-time high moves in some of the indices. So this is still pretty good market. The gold market, remember I told you, it's trying to hold on to the 3,300 level, and I think that's what's important. The silver market, if it wants to play catch up here, why can't you go back to $50 an ounce? There's no reason. There's no reason at all. Copper, every time they try to beat it up and keep it down, it comes roaring back at you. And of course, the copper miners are in trouble because so many of them are trying to figure out, how do I make money with 50% tariffs? So while this price is going up here, how do I get the copper into America? And this is a big problem. And make my money on it. If it's not here already, you can't send a ship now with the ore and think you're going to maybe get it here in time. I don't know all the logistics, but I'm reading how many ships turned around in copper and they went back. And the London Metal Exchange is now, their stocks are starting to climb again. I told you that was over when the 50% tariff happened, and so far, exactly what is taking place. Before we get and take a look at too much in the way of the chart, why don't we take a look at news? You're going to get on Monday morning the Conference Board. They're going to release their June leading, coincident, and lagging economic indicators. Last month, we saw that they declined a tenth, so in May they were down from April. We'll see if June can improve over May, but they're looking for a down 0.2. Be aware that you're going to get the results of the upper house election in Japan, and it has everything to do with whether or not Prime Minister Ishiba can stay in power. It's really that simple. If he does and he wins, well, what happens is they'll start negotiating very heavy with the U.S. on these tariffs. Baker Hughes, the weekly rig count, rose 7. You heard me, went up 7. We haven't been talking about that. They've been declining mainly. You're still down 42 rigs from a year ago. Corporate earnings, you get one-fifth of the S&P 500 companies will report this coming week. So it's going to be a big week in that market, and the individual stocks will rock and roll off of that. But in talking to you about the metals, if you take a look, this is an all-time high closing price on a weekly chart. You're there right now. When you look at what's going on, you have congestion. That's what I call this. This market's now whipping around in here, and as it does so, you don't have a trend. You have a higher high and off the swing line and lower low. The market has been able to stay over the 18-week average of closes of 32.65. They should pull in the Bollinger Bands very shortly. They should narrow in if you don't move one way or the other this coming week. And that's generally the sign, if it does happen, that the market's getting ready for another big move. It's not moved in yet, so I don't want you to be ahead of myself. You are overbought in momentum. Overbought either gets both of these numbers back over 80 by rising in price to embed, or this overbought condition corrects by prices dropping. And doesn't have to be a lot, but moderate drop to get rid of that. That's how it typically works. In the gold-silver ratio, silver continues to gain on gold. Just back when I did my last report, what was it, in June, we were around here, 97 or so. We are down to 87, the difference in the ratio. So you need 10 ounces less of silver to get 1 ounce of gold. And silver, unlike gold, look at how this chart just keeps marching to higher prices. That was what we expected, and it's what you got. I'm impressed with copper prices. Here's what's going on. How do you bring in copper? I mean, at that 50% tariff, it's very difficult. So you can get the prices up here, but it doesn't mean all the miners can make money on it. In the platinum, you had this huge run. Even though you backed off today, that's not a sign of weakness in the market. This market's still on fire. It has an embedded reading. Lose that, and I'll have a different opinion, but it hasn't done it. And last but not least, you lost a bearish reading in the U.S. dollar. If you don't gain it back this week, you open the door for wherever that 18-week average is, the prices just might rally to that. And that would be one of the signs that the market's not going to go down to that fifth price count, that it's run its course. Time will tell. We're not there yet, and we have to get through next week to know how that's going to work. So if you trade and you like these indicators, are you aware if you have Trading View, you can turn them on? You have to do it through our website. So you go to iraepstein.com, and in the client area, that's where it's at. It says Client Resources at the top. You'll see Trading View. You go in there and you sign it all up. You'll get the moving averages. You'll get my swing line study, my version of slow stochastics, which are very different than the version you will get laying side by side, and you'll see what I'm saying, and you can do that. Outside bars. So when they occur, you can do that. Now, you can turn all this off. You can turn it on. It's yours to do what you want. It only uses 2 pairs, and all this ties together with my courses. So how do you get this? Again, you go to iraepstein.com. When you're on the website, as you're there, look on the top right at the word Client Resources. Give that a click. You will see Trading View indicators. Go in there, turn it on. I'm Ira. You have yourself a great evening, a great weekend, and I'll catch up with you next week. Take care.